All right, let's jump right in. You hear the term artificial intelligence, or AI, thrown around all the time. But what does it actually mean? Today, we're going to cut through all that noise, all the hype, and get to a really simple, clear answer.
So when I say AI, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it something like this? A robot that walks, talks, has its own thoughts, maybe even feelings? That's kind of the classic sci-fi picture, right?
Or maybe it's more like this, a giant, all-knowing computer, like a digital oracle that's already way smarter than any human. Look, these are powerful ideas for sure, but they're not really what AI is in our day-to-day lives. Okay, so it's time to separate the sci-fi from the sci-fact. Let's just push all those movie ideas to the side for a minute and really dig into what this technology is and how it actually works. And this right here, this is the most important distinction we can make. AI systems aren't thinking or feeling like you and I do. They don't have consciousness. What they are, at their very core, are just incredibly powerful engines for recognizing patterns.
So that brings us back to the big question, right? If it's not about conscious robots, then what on earth are we talking about when we say AI? All right, let's get right to the heart of it. Here's a simple, clear definition. And honestly, this is the foundation for understanding everything else we're going to talk about.
Okay, so here it is. At its most basic, artificial intelligence is just the science of making machines that can do things that normally need a human brain, things that require thinking and learning. The key word here is simulating intelligence. We're not trying to recreate consciousness.
Let me put it another way. The whole point is to build systems that can tackle jobs we used to think only a person could do. Stuff like understanding what you're saying, figuring out what's in a picture, or making a tough call based on a ton of information.
Okay, so we've got the what. Now for the how. How does an AI actually learn or get smarter? Well, it's not magic, I promise. It all comes down to a simple process involving three things: data, patterns, and predictions.
And this really breaks it down perfectly. You can pretty much boil down how most AI learns into these three simple steps. Step 1, you feed it a ton of data, just massive amounts. Step 2, it churns through all that data looking for patterns. And Step 3, it uses those patterns it found to make a prediction or a decision. That's it. That's the loop. This really helps put it all in perspective, doesn't it? When we think we're using consciousness, we understand context, we genuinely get what's going on. AI, well, it's totally different. It's all about that super fast, powerful pattern matching. Think of it as a different kind of thinking altogether, a different tool for the job. Okay, that might still feel a little abstract, so let's make it super concrete. A self-driving car is the perfect real-world example of that three-step process we just talked about. So how does a self-driving car think? Well, first, its cameras and sensors are constantly grabbing data about everything around it. That's step 1, data. Then the AI looks for patterns in that data. It says, hey, that red octagon shape, that's a stop sign. That moving thing, that's a person walking. That's step 2, patterns. And finally, based on that pattern, it makes a prediction about the best thing to do next, like hit the brakes. That's step 3, prediction. See, it's that same loop, right there on the road. And if you're thinking, okay, self-driving cars, that's still kind of futuristic, think again. The truth is, this tech is already all around us. It's woven into our daily lives, usually in ways we don't even think twice about. I mean, just look at this stuff. That little recommendation for what movie to watch next, that's AI, recognizing patterns in what you and millions of other people like. Your email spam filter that, actually works, that's AI, spotting patterns in what junk mail looks like. Your voice assistant on your phone, those online translation tools, yep, they all run on the exact same basic idea. So, why are we spending so much time just on the definition? Because honestly, once you get this right, it completely changes how you see this technology and what it's doing in our world. And here's the most important part. The goal of AI is not to replace the human mind. It's to extend our own abilities. It's about creating amazing tools that help us sift through mountains of information, spot patterns we'd never see on our own, and ultimately make better, faster decisions. And really, if you remember one thing from all this, let it be this. You do not need to know how to code to understand AI. You don't. If you just get that simple three-part idea, data, patterns, predictions, then you've already grasped the fundamental concept that makes almost all of this tech tick. Which, brings us to the real question we should be asking. It's not if AI is going to change our world. I mean, let's be real, it already is. The real conversation, the important one, is about how. How are we going to choose to use these incredibly powerful tools to build the kind of future we want?